Ben, how do you start a responsible AI project?
Planning and design. You want to begin it with understanding what it is that you're creating. So you'll go through the standard business practices, you're aligning your finances, business uses, KPIs, things like that. But one of the most important aspects is making sure that you fully understand what it is that you're going to make. And that means breaking down the model's intended purpose into requirement statements. So it must always do this. It must never do that. It must be HIPAA compliant. It has to follow GDPR. It has to be secure. Things like that, right? So you take those individual requirement statements and you evaluate each one for risk, utilizing subject matter experts that know the topic. Those subject matter experts would then come out the other side with compensating controls that would be requirements in and of themselves. You put all that together and you have your grocery list. This is what we're building. Each one of these things should be verified and validated throughout the project once it's given to a developer.
And this planning and preparation phase is very important for the actual work to start, because then we know what kind of data we need. And that's when we go to the data preparation. It might require different data sources or even data augmentation. And in parallel to it, we can be building different proof of concepts. And the point there is to try different algorithms or combinations of algorithms and different ways of training the model or fine-tuning it. Once we have some benchmarks, then we can make the decision to proceed towards full model training, which is a complicated process by itself. It requires a lot of fine-tuning and a lot of adjustments. But once we are done with it, then we have to spend some time on validating and verifying what we have trained. And sometimes we even have to go back towards the data phase and maybe get more data or adjust the data. And this flexibility is very important. But once we get to that phase, then we move on to full product development, and throughout the whole life cycle, we still need to keep an eye on the risks, right?
Well, absolutely. So you'd want to have some sort of phase gate between each of the different phases that evaluates the ethics, safety, security, regulatory, et cetera, to make sure that, there is no new or ununderstood risk to move forward. It's not worth the time and the money to go from all the way from one side of the project to the other without evaluating, have we run into a dead end? Is this more risky than we thought, et cetera. But also once it is complete and you've passed all your phase checks and you're ready for integration with whatever traditional software it's being compiled with or utilized with or whatever, you have to consider what you're going to do with it throughout time, right? So you need your standard maintenance procedures. You need to understand backup and restore. You need to have performance validation in mind, and as well as doing these quarterly risk analyses of it to see, has something changed in the threat landscape? Is there new risks, new threats? Is there a new vulnerability, new regulatory that we need to be concerned about? Things like that.
And all of this put together creates a responsible project lifecycle for AI projects.